Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to share my Tier 3 Captain America with you guys, because on the live stream a few hours ago, I was able to get my 10th book, the Titan Records for Combat Characters, and then I went ahead and got the last of the resources that I needed, and I Tier 3'd Captain America, so I wanted to bring you some gameplay, I wanted to bring you some highlights, and I wanted to explain all of the different mechanics going on with the character and what makes him such a badass. And I also want to explain what you can expect from a Tier 3 cap if you are going to get him and if you're going to make that investment, because it's a pretty steep investment. So just keep in mind that in order to Tier 3 cap, you're going to have to, of course, unlock his potential by playing World Boss Ultimate with him enough times. Then you have to get him enough bios, 2,400. And you also have to get black antimatter and gold to upgrade his potential to level 70. And then you need to play World Boss Ultimate to collect the different materials that you need. You need the, of course, 10 combat books, which I now have 0 of, and then you additionally need to get Cosmic Cube Fragments, Dimension Dust, and Titan Component Packs. It's a lot. And you also have to get all of his gears to 25, which also costs additional Dimension Dust, Titan Component Packs, and Black Antimatter. So it's a really expensive endeavor. And it's something that I think you should only consider if you absolutely love Captain America and you're in a position where you can afford all of those different components. If you're a brand new player, even if you've been playing for a few months now, this is definitely beyond your reach. And I don't think that the cumulative cost of one character, i.e. this Captain America, is worth the investment that you're going to be making and that you're going to be sacrificing for all other characters. So keep that in mind. If people tell you or give you the advice, you know, go for Quicksilver, go for Doctor Strange, go for some other characters that you might think are lesser tiered because they're only tier 2, it's definitely better to have multiple native tier 2s than just your tier 3 Captain America. But he's definitely an absolute monster, and I want to start off with one of the more requested clips. This is a stage 23 World Boss Ultimate Proxima with only Beast's leadership and buff being passed, and then a small team up bonus with Thor. So there's no Shuri, there's no Coulson, there's no Valkyrie, and he completely rips her a new one with a CTP of energy that I gave him after attempting it with a regular obelisk. Just for comparison, with a regular obelisk, which was max HP, ignore, dodge, 3 seconds of invincibility, every time he used his 6th skill, his new ultimate skill, heroic charge, he was taking off about 1 bar of her health total, and that's on stage 23 of World Boss Ultimate. And then you'll see how much more he was doing when I gave him a damage proc obelisk. So enjoy that, and we'll come back to this. Here we go. Needs a CTP of destruction? No. Use Storm as a striker? The Storm as a striker thing doesn't work. True. Run Beast. I'm gonna wait until my proc is back. Here we go. Wow. Nice. Yeah, it is really satisfying, right? You don't get any bars from the team up skill, which is kind of rummy. Oh, I missed the proc there. Darn. I think maybe you should be a little bit ahead of the proc. when you cast the fifth skill. Or the ultimate skill, rather. But it's definitely really hard to line up with the proc. Oh, wow. Well played. So I definitely still have a lot of practice to do with Captain America, but there are a few things that I now want to show you in addition to the character to get you to better understand what you can expect from future tier 3s and also some of their limitations, because they're definitely not perfect. And while the tier 3 is a huge stat bump, I mean, some of my stats went up almost 50%. My HP jumped like 40,000, my physical attack jumped like almost 20,000. There are some difficulties or challenges with these characters. So I first want to point out to you how many different buffs Captain America gets with his tier 3. He debuffs the enemy with a stun, all defense, and movement speed, and then he buffs himself. He has 5 different buffs: ignore defense, all attack, the penetration chance, the ignore dodge, the immunity, and the all attack. So it's actually 6 buffs. He's got a lot of self buffs, but each one of those actually has a different place in time during the charge up of the animation, and this is what I would consider to be a limitation of the skill. So let me show you in some very basic Shadowlands gameplay. This is not to test his stats or his damage, but all I want you to do is I want you to watch up here in the top left hand corner. You're gonna see those different icons. You got the mask and the vest, and you got the sword, and you got the hourglass. You're gonna see some other buffs come up because I have to cast his other skills, but then I want you to pay attention when I use his 6th skill. I'm gonna use it once right away, and then I'm gonna use it a second time, and I'm gonna charge it up. Try to see the difference between the two. Just before we start, or actually while we're going, each one of his skills will charge up his ultimate skill by a different amount. So it's not random, it's definitely a calculated number. His first skill does the least. It does 1.7% added to his 6th skill charge up. The second skill does 3%, it adds that much. The third and fourth skill both add 9%, and then the 5th skill adds 15%. So in addition to that, he also charges about half a percentage per second that you're just standing there. So even if you're not casting skills, you're just running around, it'll be slowly charging up his ultimate. So per rotation, if you do, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, without canceling the skills before the animation even begins, you'll get about 42% of the charge up for his ultimate skill. So it takes roughly 2 and a bit full rotations to get that thing, that 6th skill charged up. Keep in mind, you can cancel all of the skills right away and you'll always get the bonus. It adds onto the ultimate skill as soon as you press it, the ability. But of course, your character is going to be very vulnerable if you're skipping through all their iframes, skipping through all their buffs, and stuff like that. So the first time we're going to do it, we're just going to press it and let go. And you can see here he does a basic charge up and then he rushes the enemy. But if you noticed, I only got a few of the buffs. I only got 3 of the buffs activated from this tier 2 ability, which is really not that good. Just to keep in mind so you're not confused, there is no animation in Shadowland where he jumps and he's full screen. That full screen animation, it happens in other game modes like Extreme Alliance Battle and World Boss Ultimate, but for whatever reason it doesn't happen in Shadowland. So now we're going to go ahead and recharge his 6th skill. I'll show you here that if you're just kiting around, it'll still charge up by 0.5% roughly every second. I didn't get a stopwatch for that one, but it's basically that much. And this time we're going to hold the skill and charge it. And you're going to see what happens. I'm going to let Captain America's other buffs disappear because he's got some right now. And we're just going to wait until he's just got his regular buff. Right now, the only buff he has is his ISO 8 bonus. So now we're going to hit his 6th skill. We're going to charge it up. And you can see the buffs stacking up. All of his different buffs stacked up there. Now we have a whole bunch of different buffs. We've got the dodge ignore, we've got the accumulated damage, we've got the multiple attack buffs there, the all attack, and the physical attack. All the different buffs stacked up when I charged the skill. So it's absolutely important and basically mandatory that you charge the skill. If you do not charge the skill, you're not getting all of the buffs. You could only be getting a couple of the buffs, in fact, which is actually quite dangerous. Another thing is that all of the buffs don't happen simultaneously. As you guys saw, the buffs kind of trickled in one after another. So although this ultimate skill does give him immunity, it's actually really important, or it could be really important, especially against high-level world boss ultimate, that you actually cancel his first skill into his ultimate skill to give him immunity before he gets immunity on the ultimate skill. So for example, I would cancel 1 immediately into his ult, and I still have 1 second left, and now I get my 3 seconds again, and now I can release, and I basically got a full 6 seconds of immunity, and I was prevented from taking any damage. Keep in mind that he can get debuffed and he can get interrupted during that skill, during that heroic skill. It doesn't have a iframe ignore, so if a character or an enemy that you're targeting happens to iframe, Captain America will do nothing, even against World Boss Ultimates who have iframes, so that is a major weakness of this ability. Additionally, if his debuff is down, because he does have a debuff ability on heroism, and he also has one, I believe, on his uniform. No, he doesn't. But anyways, if his debuff is down and he's debuffable, and he can get snared or bound or feared or time frozen, it will just cancel the effect of his 6th skill and nothing will happen. So there are definitely weaknesses to this skill. For comparison in terms of damage, with the CTP, I was doing, you know, it looked like 2 to 3 bars per rotation, and that's more than I was doing with Quicksilver with a buff from Daisy, in addition to a 45% leadership with Gorgon. So on a similar stage, stage 23, he was out DPSing Quicksilver with a 180 crit rate proc and a pretty solid ABX setup in terms of Uru and ISO 8 and stuff like that, with a similar kind of buff effect in terms of Beast and his leadership versus Gorgon and Daisy's damage proc like buff. So that's a really impressive amount of damage for Captain America to do. But I think that's where some people might feel a little bit disappointed in Captain America. He is the first tier 3 character, so I think a lot of people are expecting him to just blow everyone out of the water, and that's really not the case. He's definitely a very strong character. Is he top 30? Probably top 30 if I were to make another meta snapshot video right now. But he's still out DPSable. There are definitely still characters in the game who will do more damage than him and will do more damage faster than he can, or almost as fast as he can. So I don't think he crushes the competition by that much. The top DPS, you know, tier 2 Anti-Man with a CTP, tier 2 Bucky level 70, gear 25 with a CTP, they're going to be able to do almost as much damage as quickly as Captain America does. But with that being said, he's still a very, very strong character. It's just that we should temper our expectations a little bit, given that Captain America was never really a powerhouse of damage. You know, if someone like Iron Man or someone like Thor got their tier 3, I would expect insane damage, because those characters are already known for their damage. But Captain America is known for his defense, and seeing, you know, 100,000 HP and up is what you expect from Captain America. Now, did I expect a little bit more defense from his heroic charge skill? Kind of. I wish that the skill wasn't interruptible. That would be really frustrating for PvP. I can understand that, so I'm not unhappy that it's interruptible. I just sometimes feel like it feels a bit deflating to you know, work up to the 6th skill, cast it, and then you lose the target, or they snare you or something, and it just fizzles out. So it definitely needs a little bit of getting used to, but I'm really happy with how powerful Captain America is and how he melts face, and I can't wait to see what character we get next for tier 3. So let me know what you guys think of Captain America tier 3. Let me know who you think is going to come up next for tier 3. Is it going to be Iron Man? Is it going to be Doctor Strange? Is it going to be someone brand new, maybe Deadpool? Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my content. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.